Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time you're watching this. We are at number 3 of our XFL preseason quarterback rankings. Coming in at number 3 is one of my favorite players in this whole league is AJ McCarron. Now, if you don't know who AJ McCarron is, he's right now the quarterback of the St. Louis Battlehawks. Most recently was unofficially named QB1 after the release of Ryan Willis for the Battlehawks. Did a little video on that. And now we see him getting his second opportunity to start a consistent amount of games at the pro level. Now, if you don't know who AJ is, he's national championship quarterback from the University of Alabama. Played there from '09 to 2013. Yes, 2013. Won a couple national championships. Threw over 1,000 passes, 77 touchdowns, 9,000 yards at the University of Alabama to only 15 interceptions. Was a fifth round pick in Cincinnati, didn't play at all in 2014. 2015, Andy Dalton gets hurt and was pretty much a Vontez Burfict penalty away from breaking this terrible streak that they had at the time of consecutive playoff losses after Andy Dalton got hurt. Now, he came in 2015. In 2015, that was his biggest exposure to the pro game. Started 3 games, went 79 completions, 119 attempts, 66.4 completion percentage, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And then that was really it until 2016. Played in 1 game. 2017 threw 14 passes. Had the opportunity to start in Buffalo. Got traded in 2018. That Josh Allen, Nathan Peterman, AJ McCarron battle, and then transitioned over to the Oakland Raiders. Played in 2 games there, threw 3 passes. Came the backup in Houston. Started 1 game there. Had a rushing touchdown, his only NFL rushing touchdown for the Texans. One start they lost. 220 over 220 yards. Threw an interception. Really not much after that. Threw 1 pass in 2020. Then comes to Atlanta, to be the backup to Matt Ryan, and then tears his ACL. They signed Josh Rosen, drafted Felipe Franks. Not really much going on in Atlanta during his injury. Spent the whole year on IR. Comes to the Battlehawks as Coach Beck's guy. And the reason why I say he's Coach Beck's guy is that Ryan Willis was leaked around September by Mike Mitchell that he would be the quarterback. And then Beck, we've seen a lot of this with a lot of these retreads, you know, selected AJ in November. He was assigned there. Kind of a surprise to a lot of people. Rumors. He had some NFL workouts in 2022, kind of trying to get back in the league. But his kids actually wanted him to go. So to go to the XFL, continue playing football. And this gentleman, is now on the cusp of essentially making that NFL return. Like a lot of these guys who have been on the short list for the NFL, I wouldn't expect to see AJ, if he puts together some decent games, to be kind of a one and done guy. I do think he'll probably throw about 200, 225 yards a game, maybe even more, depending on how dynamic this offense is with all these great receivers they have in St. Louis. Maybe 15 touchdowns in 10 games, totally not unreasonable. And I think his overall leadership presence and just how smart he is, because as Coach Beck has said, you can see it on the XFL News Hub, that he's going out of his way to teach all these other guys, teach them about the game, teaching the receivers to the point it's almost kind of an overdoing it a little bit. Now, AJ, one of the more experienced guys in the league, can't talk about that enough. All American, all SEC, been around the Nick Saban, been around guys like even Andy Dalton, Matt Ryan, even John Gruden, played with Deshaun Watson. He's been around some good players where he's been able to learn and teach as well. AJ, if he doesn't have one of the more statistically successful seasons, I still see him as such a positive for the league from a branding source to also just his knowledge of football. To teach guys like Manny Wilkins and Nick Tiano, who have had these cups of teas with the NFL, Wilkins being in a LaFleur system with, even learning from Aaron Rodgers, I think it only gets better and is such a good advertising tool to the league. Now, I personally think the Battlehawks are going to go like 8-2, 7-3, and I think McCarron's going to lead the way because of his success. And granted, he's not playing against NFL starters. He's playing against a lot of NFL caliber players, which is not a knock on the league. That's just the reality of alt football. So this gentleman, with all his experience, with his pro success as well, played pretty well in that playoff game, is easily going to be a top three quarterback in this league. Obviously, that's where I have him at number three over Ben DiNucci. I think you guys can kind of figure out who are the other two based off more recency bias. Curious to see how he looks with that coming off that knee injury, but obviously teams thought he was good enough to bring him in for workouts as well. Once again, AJ McCarron, my St. Louis Battlehawks coming in at number three.